Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's-A-Mii here, and today we're doing another unboxing for a Switch 2 launch game. This time we're doing something a little different though. We're doing a code and box release, yes, for Split Fiction. One of my favorite games of the year from EA and Handheld. This is a code and box release. I actually had a lot of people asking me to do a video opening up this bad boy in particular, because well, I don't imagine a lot of people really want to spend the money on what is a code and box release. If you're gonna get it digitally, you might as well just buy it on the eShop, right? This, for all intents and purposes, is kind of a waste of plastic, but we're gonna open it up and see what is inside and see if EA has any special treats for us. I am not optimistic. Of course, I'm also going to play the game a bit and see how it runs in both docked and handheld play for this version of the game. Okay, here we are with Split Fiction on Switch 2. This one being a download code inbox is a huge disappointment to me as someone who is okay with game key cards, and I can understand doing a code and box release because, you know, you want to have that retail presence, but also, like, why not just release it on the eShop? Like, at that point, it's fine. Or really, just do a game key card. Game key cards, if nothing else, should be a pathway for publishers to not be doing this stuff, but it seems like on Switch 2, we're actually getting more code and boxes than before. Civilization 7 is also one. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, which I'm personally really excited for. That's also a code and box on Switch 2. I just don't really understand it. I do have my PS5 copy of the game here, and I will say, beyond the code and box drama with this game, Split Fiction is one of my favorite games of 2025. It is an incredible co-op experience. If you've ever played a Haze-like game, be that Brothers, be that A Way Out, or most importantly, It Takes Two, if you like It Takes Two or really any of those games, you're going to love Split Fiction. It is a fantastic, fantastic game, and I'm happy it's on Switch 2, but code and box release, you know? So let's go ahead and open this up here. Here is the front with our characters Mio and Zoe, I believe was their names. It's been a few months since I played it now, but that sounds right to me. From the makers of It Takes Two, Haze-Light's EA Originals, 2-player co-op only, age restrictions may apply, and most importantly, on the bottom there, it says full game download, game card not included for this release. We do have a spine here with the white background and black text and the EA logo on the bottom, and then a whole lot of text on the back of this box. Wow, they did not try to make this very pretty. Okay, so it says here, get the Friends Pass, invite a friend to join you for free. Of course, that's one of the best things about these games. If you have not played a Haze-like game, they're very good about giving you a Friends Pass, so that way you can play with a friend without them needing to buy the game. You can buy the game and then they can join you, and that is applying here on the Switch 2 as well. The text is so small, it's almost hard to read through the camera, but it says, Split Fiction is a unique action-adventure experience that keeps you on the edge of your couch with unexpected moments. It's weird, it's wild, and it's designed to be shared, so grab your co-op partner and get ready to overcome any obstacle thrown your way. Then there is just a ton of warnings, and then most notably, since it doesn't say it on the front because it just says game download, this is a 75 gig download. So not only is it not a game key card, it's also the biggest Switch 2 game, I'm pretty sure. I think this is the biggest file size for any Switch 2 game. So EA, Haze-Light, shame on you. This is bad. Come on, at least do a game key card, at least try to compress it a little bit. 75 gigs. Split Fiction is an incredible game. Once again, I already have it on PS5. I love this game. I cannot recommend it enough. But everything about the Switch 2 version so far does not seem very good. But maybe it runs fine. We'll find out when we do our hands-on impressions. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and crack this thing open here and see. Like, I wonder, is there any chance? Is there any chance EA opted to do like a reverse cover art or anything like that? I doubt it, given what they're doing here in general, but we will see if there's anything on the inside. So once again, without the plastic on, we have the front of the game, the spine, as well as the back. Okay, let's open it up and see. Yeah. It is the most basic possible thing, and there's still a cartridge slot because it is a Switch 2 case, but it is just a download code for the game, as well as a little thing advertising the Friends Pass. So here we have the Split Fiction Friends Pass piece of paper advertising that. Invite a friend to join online co-op for free on any platform, so it is crossplay, which is nice. I didn't actually realize that. I played it on PS5, but if you have a friend on PS5 and you want to play on Switch 2 or, you know, any combination of consoles, you can do that, which is pretty nice. Step 1, own Split Fiction. Step 2, friend downloads Friends Pass on a chosen platform. Step 3, send an invite to friend. Step 4, play the entire game together, which is pretty cool, not forcing people to buy the game twice. And then we have the download code itself here. No cartridge in this one. Download code, instructions on reverse. Just has a bunch of warnings and stuff. Go to the eShop, enter the code. we know how to put a download code in, I think. Okay, so we're gonna do this right now. I'm not gonna be buying these across the board. I just wanted to buy this one as a test, I guess, really, more than anything. Split Fiction is a game that's nice to own on Switch 2. I'm sure I'll be playing it many times over the years. But like, I'm not gonna buy the code in box for Tony Hawk or Civilization 7, I don't think, unless they go on deep sale. I'm not going to pay full price. I just wanted to, as part of the launch lineup, open this one for you all and really see what's going on with it, to see if there's any, you know, maybe there would have been a goodie inside, but no, I mean, they really did the bare minimum. So let's enter our code here and see what the icon looks like for Split Fiction on Switch 2. Someone did comment asking me to do this video. I also had some other comments asking how the performance is on Switch 2. So that's what we're going to get into in just a second after I download this massive this massive file. 76 gigs, like, it's funny because, like, on PS5, playing on PS5 for years, like, that's standard for PS5 for a game to be in that ballpark. For Nintendo, though, that's a whole different can of worms. Like, I've never downloaded a game that big on my Nintendo Switch. But here we have the download. Close that, and I'm still installing my Cyberpunk. A virtual game card added, of course, slotted in there. And there it is, Split Fiction on Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to go play the opening of the game with Olivia, see how it runs on Nintendo Switch, both in docked but also handheld, if I even can. I mean, I should be able to play in handheld, but we'll switch over to that right now. Okay, I just got done playing the opening of the game, both a little bit of the sci-fi section and a little bit of fantasy, and early thoughts on the ports. I mean, it is running clearly worse than my experience when playing it on PS5 Pro. It ran like a dream over there. This, as far as I can tell, docked is running at 1080-30, and I think in handheld it's 720-30. So you're cutting the frame rate in half, and if you do a side-by-side comparison, yes, you can tell the difference. However, I will say, when they first showed this back on April 2nd in the Nintendo Direct, out of every third-party port there, I was thinking, that doesn't look like a very good port. I remember looking at that footage and thinking, this doesn't look like the most impressive thing. However, actually playing the game on launch day now, or, you know, near launch, it runs pretty good. It is 30 FPS. That is a drawback. You are playing it on a portable console. However, this is a very competent version of Split Fiction. And I will say, Olivia, who is someone who doesn't really, you know, notice frame rates and higher resolution, stuff like that, she was saying, like, yeah, this is fine. It looks maybe a little bit worse based on, like, some modeling and everything. But to her eye, the untrained eye, she was like, yeah, it looks perfectly fine, just a little bit less higher fidelity than the PS5 version, which is what you would expect. But overall, I mean, if this is your only way to play Split Fiction, this is certainly not a bad option if you want to do that. Of course, you could also buy it on PlayStation or Xbox and get a disc with your copy of the game, so there's that as well. But the Switch 2 version is pretty good. I noticed a couple of frame drops as we were running around being chased by these ogres, but also in the sci-fi section, there was a lot of explosions, and that wasn't, you know, hitching the frame rate at all. So it seems like it's a pretty consistent 30, which is nice. What I find interesting about this version is that there are just there's no performance options in the settings. There's no graphic options in the settings, which is odd, although I guess if it's running 720-30 in handheld, then they're probably not going to have much room for wiggle room there to really change anything. It's fine. It's a fine port. I think it's running better than it did when we saw it on April 2nd, so it is a totally competent port of Split Fiction. If you have not played this game, it is one of the best games of 2025. I highly recommend it. And if you don't have a PlayStation or Xbox or PC, and you want to have this game on your Switch, maybe you want to have, you know, a little co-op action where you each have your own screen playing on Switch 2, then this is a perfectly fine version of the game. It's not the most impressive port in the world, but it's also not a bad port by any means. I mean, it is a totally good version of Split Fiction. Hopefully, Hazelight will go back and patch up It Takes Two. I played a little bit of that version in 2021, I want to say it came out, or 2022 on Switch, and that port was not the best. This is certainly a much higher effort offering from Hazelight's on Switch 2. So I'm hoping they go back and patch up It Takes Two a little bit, and hopefully, with the Switch 2 now in the mix, their next game they will develop with Switch 2 at least in mind a little bit more than Split Fiction, although, of course, I don't want them to have any drawbacks. If they want to, you know, target the highest fidelity on PS5 Pro or PS6 at that point, that's fine, but hopefully they can kind of develop it concurrently and get an even better port out for the next game that they release. But that is going to do it for this video. Let me know if you're planning on picking up Split Fiction on Nintendo Switch 2, or maybe you already played it on another platform. This isn't really a game that you need to rebuy. Once again, like I said, I was kind of mostly doing it just to see what a code and box release was like on Switch 2, but also I did want to test it out and see how it performed against the other versions. But let me know your thoughts on the game. Subscribe here for more. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my Nintendo news channel at BoTalksGames. Click on one of the 2 videos on screen right now to listen to me ramble even more about Switch 2 stuff. And until next time, folks, peace.